Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel, and I wanted to jump in on something you might want to think about, might have overlooked if you have pets, cats, dogs, anything like that, in any kind of situation. It doesn't have to be Shtf or the apocalypse, is you might want to invest in a pet first aid kit, right? There's a lot of great stuff in a pet first aid kit that you wouldn't find in a normal first aid kit. You know, we all love our pets, certainly cats, dogs, anything like that, or even your livestock. So you might want to look at getting a pet first aid kit. So a few things that jump out right away that you wouldn't see in a normal first aid kit is an emergency leash, right? Could be very useful if you don't have a leash on you or something like that. Pet gets injured, you're traveling, you grab that, you got your emergency leash. Comes with a little bottle here that you could fill up with water. You have your gauze roll, gauze wrap, but also back in here it's an emergency bowl, so you could fill this up with food or water, and you have a little emergency portable feeding or water dish, right? Which is pretty cool. So it's not something you have in a normal first aid kit, just a little emergency portable feed bowl there. Flip it over on this side. You got some regular stuff, magnifying glass. You got a disposable syringe, but this is pretty cool here. You have an emergency survival blanket if you're out camping and your dog falls in the water. You might need to warm it up with an emergency blanket. You got your instant cold compress, which is something you might find in a standard first aid kit. Comes with a pair of scissors here. Right, that's more for cutting dressing. It's got a rounded end, and it actually has a little guide on protecting your dogs. Just different ideas, hazardous areas, holiday hazard, harmful food. So it's good general information. You got an owner information card where you can fill out your contact information about your pets. But I want to jump in to the middle pocket here because there's a couple other really cool items that you might not get in a standard first aid kit that you need in your pet first aid kit. If I can find it somewhere in here, you have your regular stuff, sting relief pads, alcohol pads, sterile gauze and whatnot. If your dog or cat gets a cut, you need to deal with that. But there's a tick remover in here as well. So you're gonna come out from this side. Well, got everything falling out. Alright, you got some different gloves. You should have your PPE. You've got some tongue depressors. These are some temporary tags. So once again, it actually comes with a hook. Very pet specific. So you've got a lot of great items in here, and the bag is big enough that you could add some of your own items, whether it's treats or you want some gauze wrap, more gauze wrap, anything like that you can put in here. So something to think about, right, is do you have first aid for your pets? Generally, you know, a lot of the stuff does cross over, but if you ever tried putting a little sticky bandage on a dog, that's not going to happen, right? They're big animals with a lot of hair. You're going to want more specialized equipment in terms of, you know, food and water. If we're going more on the Shtf side of things, you know, you've got your dry dog food does have a set shelf life, and I'm just jumping into this because it was actually a conversation I had with somebody who was asking about, hey, how do you prep long-term food for your dogs? So once again, dry dog food has a limited shelf life. You can go on the canned foods, certainly is an option. You're going to get a longer shelf life, but keep in mind, food is food, right? There aren't special plants and animals they use to make dog food. In fact, it's generally likely to be the scraps of the stuff we eat that you wouldn't want to eat anyway. So I mean, if you have your dog and you're wondering how to build a long-term food storage, think about people food, right? You know, any kind of meats, anything that you would normally eat. And there's obviously some things dogs can't eat, so you want to be careful. You don't give them chocolate, don't give them avocados, things like that. There's a list, and you can find a list online. But in terms of general healthy food, the dogs can eat what you eat, right? Food is food. Once again, there aren't special plants and animals they only harvest to feed the dogs. So if you're looking at more of a long-term food supply for your dogs, for your cats. Look at what you're eating and make sure it's healthy for them, but you might have longer shelf life on things like dry goods. I know if your dog has stomach issues or something like that, you know, you can look at, hey, can you give them pumpkin? Yep. Can you give them chicken and rice? Yeah, they can eat chicken and rice. So there's a lot of things you eat that may have a longer shelf life than your average like dog food. And it's probably going to be healthier for your dog than a lot of the stuff you might be getting in the bag off the shelf. Once again, look at the ingredients, right? There are things dogs can't eat, and this little first aid kit even has a list. So make sure your dogs have food. Make sure your dogs or your pets, could be cats, have food and water. But also think about things like first aid. So thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.